pleasure having you online. Sam Barratt is the chief of UNEP, and UNEP is the UN, United Nations Environmental Program. And he's in charge for youth education and advocacy. And we're delighted to have you here, Sam. Great to meet you, and looking forward to your presentation. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And thanks for the opportunity to speak to everyone. So my name's Sam, which you already know. And I work for UN Environment. Our headquarters are here in Kenya, which is a beautiful place to be. And my job is to look after both formal and non-formal education. And the mission of UNEP is a very special one. That's my wife and the kids in the background, if you can hear them. But what we're looking to do is try and support the handover of the environment to the next generation without compromising it for you guys. And we've still got a lot of work to do because the environment has been pretty severely compromised, but we think it can come back. Nature can heal itself faster than anything else. And so our work on education takes two forms. And I think we work both with education systems, with universities, but also non-formal education as well. And so the kind of work that I'm doing at the moment is helping to universities decarbonize, which is about getting rid of all their carbon emissions. So we've got something called the Race to Zero, which has already got about 600 universities from around the world who've agreed to go to net zero. And we're going to get more and more on board in the build up to the COP in Glasgow next year. We're also doing something called the Little Book of Green Nudges, because when you go to university, it's where new habits and choices are made. And so we're trying to help people to think about, what do they eat? Where do they travel? How do they power their homes? Because 75% of your individual carbon footprint is down to travel, food, and home. And if we can get people to change their habits and behaviors, then we'll have a next generation that can live more lightly on the planet. And we're working with about 200 to 300 universities to try nudges on campuses to see, when they go to the canteen, if you call something plant-based rather than meat-free, then more people will choose it. So we're going to try some work on that as well. And we're also setting up green university networks in Africa and India and Kenya, and helping more universities be as sustainable as possible. So we're doing a lot of work on that front as well. But we also do a ton of fun stuff. We're doing a lot of work with the Scouts and Girl Guides. We have this thing called the Ty Turner's Plastic Challenge, which is a badge made from recycled plastic, which I had on my desk, I don't know where I put it. But in that, we're working with somewhere like 200,000 kids from around the world to get them to change their own habits when it comes to plastics. So I've got a sanitized bottle here, but getting rid of these things, which can be single use. I use that a lot. Also changing plastic in their communities, like with their schools, but then also raising it with politicians. So the badge has taken off in about 29 countries, and we're working with the Scouts and the Girl Guides on something called Earth Tribe to bring all of their environmental education online onto a big platform that will launch next year. Scouts is 52 million, I think, in the world, and we're wanting to work with them to make them at the forefront in the fight for nature. And then the other stuff is even more fun, which is to do with video gaming. We created an initiative called Playing for the Planet, which is with 30 of the biggest gaming companies in the world. So Sony, Microsoft, Supercell, Unity. They reach over 1 billion people, the partners already. And we're looking at how we can put green nudges in games. So when you play, if it's authentic, so it's not like a clunking fist or a pop-up, you can think about the impact of the environment through gaming. We're also working with gaming companies to decarbonize. And so the new PS5 that's going to come out very soon, I think next week, they've done a lot of work in that console to remove a lot of the energy from that. And given that 2.3 billion people play video games, it's the biggest entertainment medium in the world, we're working closely with the gaming industry to do the right thing. So our Playing for the Planet initiative is only a year old, so it's quite young, but there's a ton of great stuff in there as well. But is that enough? Probably not. Is there more that we can do? Definitely. So what we're trying to start thinking about is rethinking how and what we teach. We think that the curriculum that many children are offered up isn't really kind of fit for the future. And so we're starting to work with UNESCO to think about, how do we get environmental education integrated across all different disciplines. So it's not just in sciences or geography, but it pops up in everything that you do in school. So that's one of our things for next year. As I've said, we want to shift mindsets of students. So it's not just about what you learn, it's the choices that you make, it's how you live your life. And so I think about behavior change as something that we're really keen to do, whether it's with the Scouts or nudging choices. That's another big thing we want to do more on. But the most important thing, and this is why I was so keen to say yes to Kern when he asked me to speak, which is it really is about empowering leadership from young people that will make the change. I was talking to President Crow, who's the president of Arizona State University, and he says students are the greatest force for change that we know on our campus. They're the ones that we listen to. They're our consumers and our customers. And I do think our role at UNEP is to give the opportunity for a platform for young people to really influence the world from the one that we have to the one that we want. And I think maybe I've talked too much and I'm droning on and being a bit boring, but for me, what I think the most important thing to do is to live from the heart and inspire people to be the change that we need to see in the world, and that's what UNEP's here to do. So feel free to get in touch. My email is sam.barratt@un.org. If you've got any good ideas, we're always keen to hear from you guys. And thanks for the opportunity to speak for 10 minutes. And it's a pleasure to be on this platform. So thank you.
Kuhn, I think you're muted.
So sorry for this. Thank you so much, Sam, for sharing your strong message. Really inspiring. We hope to keep our conversations open after this call, and looking forward to working with you in the future. Thank you so much for sharing this.
Pleasure. Yeah, thank you so much.